Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Android App Arena is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Android App Arena, episode 136 for Wednesday, February 8th, 2017. Pump up the volume. This episode of Android App Arena is brought to you by Blue Apron, the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/arena. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Android App Arena. I'm your host, Jason Howell. I am here to save your ears. First tip, stay away from Nickelback. Second tip, try any one of these apps for maximum control of the volume levels on your device. Maybe you want quick access to media playback at the push of a button when things get too loud too quickly. Or maybe you want to limit playback volume so your kids don't destroy their ears while listening in headphones. Though, pro tip, keeping them from Nickelback might also help. Let's check out a few ways that you can do this safely. You can pump up that volume while still respecting your ears in this week's roundup. If you want to throw those volume options into your notification pane for quick access, then you will want to look at an app called Volume Notification. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's an app that does just that. It brings some customization to what is shown there for maximum tweakability. You get a lot of options here. You can see the panel resting easily in the notification pane, just waiting to be tapped. Tapping any one of those buttons pulls up the volume slider for the system for that function. But I can jump into settings and select which ones out of the 6 different volume settings that it supports appear there and in what order. If I don't like the look of the notification bar, I can always select from a few different themes, including a custom theme with, well, maybe not the most user-friendly color picker around, but it's there. And there are a number of settings related to improving how well that tray persists inside of the notification tray when you reboot, as well as hiding it from the lock screen where it's totally unnecessary. The developer also apparently plans to include volume controls for Bluetooth and Chromecast at some point in the future, as well as others as those options arise. Volume Notification is completely open source with code on GitHub, so you can use that code and make your own app if you like, and it's totally free. Find it in the Play Store right now. You want maximum volume control, but you also like floating bubble functionality. I mean, why jump into your notification tray when you can just tap a floating button? Is something you might say to yourself when no one is listening. Check out Virtual Volume. It's an app with a considerably low install count, but it does just that. I'll tap to show the button on the screen, and there you see a little speaker button kind of floating off to the side there that, when tapped, pulls up quick access to my system volume controls. I can adjust all the appearance settings of this button. So let's maybe introduce some light transparency. We can maybe change the color of the speaker to green because, you know, Android, and add a nice little white background color to separate it from the background image or the app behind it. I'll go ahead and make it a tad larger too. I feel like it's a little too small. And I can position that bubble anywhere on the screen that I like. I can even, if I want to, lock it into place so that it can't be moved. But what can I say? I'm too indecisive for that at this point. I could keep rattling off tweakability options for this lone bubble, but honestly, there's so many, it would take all day. Rest assured that if you know what you want to set up, Virtual Volume has the ability to get you there. Oh, and there's a volume limiter up top for setting the maximum volume to, you know, protect your ears, maybe from Nickelback. Virtual Volume is free with a paid version for $1.49. That paid version is basically just a way to say thanks to the developer. It's like a tip. Find Virtual Volume button in the Play Store right now. Every Saturday morning in the Howell house, our kids look forward to some quality tablet time. We don't let them go nuts on the tablet at any other point of the week, usually. We think of this as being kind of analogous to my own Saturday morning cartoon marathon when I was a kid. Aside from keeping a close eye on what they watch, one thing that concerns me and my wife is the volume level of the videos that they're watching in headphones. Not all headphones have volume controls, so an app like Volume Limiter is a good way to maintain that control to keep things at safe levels. Volume limiter allows me to set a maximum volume limit for a number of different output types. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select headset and then set the media volume slider to the limit that I wish to set. Now, when any media is playing, as you can see here, I can try as I might to boost the volume past that point that I set, and it's not going to budge. It's going to keep snapping back into place. If my kids are to the point where they can actually outsmart me by deactivating the app itself, well, I've got one on them. I can actually set a parental lock inside the app. Volume limiter also allows for setting a volume to be locked into place, so nothing can change it. Or even locking the volume only when the screen is turned off. Maybe that's good for when it's in your pocket or whatever. Finally, there's a whitelist for apps that can bypass this audio feature if you have certain apps that you don't want to be controlled in this way. Volume limiter, limit, and lock is free in the Play Store. All right, before we move on to this week's big app, and I'm excited about this week's big app, but before we get there, let's thank the sponsor of today's episode, and that is Blue Apron. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone while supporting a more sustainable food system, setting the highest quality standards for ingredients, and building a community of home chefs. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with fresh, high-quality ingredients to make delicious, home-cooked meals for less than $10 per person. Every meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients that can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. Blue Apron sets the highest quality standards for their community of over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the U.S. Seafood sourced sustainably under standards developed in partnership with the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch. Beef, chicken, and pork come from responsibly raised animals. Produce is sourced from farms that practice regenerative farming. And because Blue Apron ships the exact amount of each ingredient required for a recipe, they're actually reducing food waste. You use it all with their recipes. Their freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right for you. Blue Apron delivers to 99% of the continental U.S. There's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. You can customize your recipes every week based on your own dietary preferences. You can choose from a variety of new recipes every week, or, just fly free. Let Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you as they wish. Recipes are not repeated within a year, so you'll never get bored. They're always changing. So you've got cashew chicken stir fry with tango mandarins and jasmine rice. Another day you might get roasted pork with apple, walnut, and farro salad. Crispy barramundi with quinoa and roasted carrot salad, or maybe udon noodle soup with miso and soft-boiled eggs. You can check out this week's menu, and you'll get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/arena. You're going to love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. You're doing it all yourself. That's the best part. Don't wait. Go to blueapron.com/arena. Blue Apron is a better way to cook. All right, up next, Nintendo's new Android game doesn't even have Mario in it. Nintendo may have kept Super Mario Run from an Android release for a few months beyond its iOS release last December. It's coming out here very soon, I think. But they wasted no time bringing their latest mobile game, Fire Emblem Heroes, to Android on day one. I was a little skeptical, mainly because I'm not immediately nostalgic with the series, but Nintendo's made a really great game. It's an original mobile game. Fire Emblem Heroes is filled with various quests and duels. Nintendo says it plans to update the game with new quests every single month, and what you can see here is basically all the quests for February. Each one brings with it a certain bounty if your team can win. Let's check out the story mode here. And when I choose to fight in a particular battle, my team is placed on a map with, some obstacles around, things like bridges and rivers that separate my team from my opponent's team. Now, down on the right of the screen, you can see kind of the pecking order of sorts. Red is more powerful than green, which is more powerful than blue, which is more powerful than red, and on and on. Using that formula, you use your turn to attempt to move towards and defeat the other players on the other team in turn-based strategic battles. Position yourself closer, and when you're ready, you can drag your player onto your opponent to attempt to defeat them in battle. If you pay attention to the pecking order here, when you do that, your attacks will then inflict more damage than when you approach other players. Clear the stage, reap the rewards, and move onward. Honestly, that is only scratching the surface here, and though there is definitely an element of grind to it, don't get me wrong, the battle sequence and strategy required to pass a level make this a pretty fun game to kill time with. Though, be prepared for the urge to drop some serious cash in-game to maybe make things a little bit easier as you get further in. Find Fire Emblem Heroes in the Play Store for free. All right, for those of you holding out for Super Mario Run, you are actually not going to have to wait much longer. Sometime next month, I'll be sure to show it off on this show once it releases on Android, and I can't wait to do that. Send me your favorite apps and categories to arena@twit.tv. You can always post those to the subreddit, androidapparena.reddit.com. The recorded show plays live every Wednesday. It's kind of live-ish. It's a pre-recorded episode, but we play it live for you, 5 p.m. Pacific, following Tech News Today at twit.tv/live. And a new episode will appear later that evening in the feeds and on the show page at twit.tv/arena. All right, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jason Howell. I'll see you next week in the arena.